Hey guys, Admiral Seabass here. We are on the eve of our Global War 85 playtest, and Doug Friend is here. He's been in my war room all day. We set this game up. We talked a lot about some of the concepts. We tweaked a few things even today, and talked a lot about the map and what we wanted to do to move this map to the next stage of development. But most of all, we just set up the game, talked about the game, and we're really looking forward to the playtest tomorrow. So I wanted to give you a flyover of the opening setup, and don't really think I've done that too much before. So you see here, really the main theater of the war is going to be here in Europe, between the Warsaw Pact in the rust color there and the NATO in blue. You can see here we're using the new army markers that Doug made, and you can see and the fleet markers as well. So you can see for all those armies, you come over here, and right now we've got all the army cards on the map, and the symbols match, and you can tell what's where and everything. So you can see here Warsaw Pact, very much equal of the U.S. and NATO at the start. That will only get more in Warsaw Pact's favor as they put all their stuff into building up these armies, and the U.S. basically can't build or send anything over until they're at war. Um, so yeah, you can see a lot of air power in this game. Um, we really thought air power was dominant in the 80s, and so we wanted to reflect that in the game. And um, so air power is really, really important in the game. So there's the European theater. So you got a lot of theater missiles in there. Those are a new unit in Global War 85. And so yeah, there's Europe. We come over here, we can see the east coast of the U.S. You got a space shuttle ready to blast off into orbit there. Cuba's got a few units, a couple light infantry and an interceptor, a diesel attack sub. The U.S. very strong, obviously, out of the gate, and we'll be looking to support their allies in Europe and around the world. And speaking of space, you can see up here we've got low Earth orbit. NATO, U.S., and the Soviets have most of the stuff in space. Geosynchronous orbit. And then you can see up here, Soviets have got a space station up here in low Earth orbit in the red space area. You see China does have a few things in there, the red units, but not too much. Their space program wasn't nearly as advanced in the 80s compared to the others. And you see down here you got Iran, Iraq, who are at war at the start of the game on game turn 1. Iraq in the light brown there, controlled by the Soviets. Iran in the coral there, controlled by the Chinese. And they will be hot from the start. So you can see there's a Soviet-backed insurgent there in Lebanon, which Israel and the government forces of Lebanon will be trying to deal with. So you got Pakistan and India very strong here. Afghanistan, of course, very hot with U.S.-supported insurgents. Angola and South Africa fighting the border war at the start of the game. Unique here in that there's a U.S.-backed insurgent in Angola and a Soviet-backed insurgent in southwestern Africa, which is governed by South Africa. And of course, over here in the Middle East, which is a blow-up box, you got again a Soviet-backed insurgent in El Salvador and a U.S.-backed insurgent in Nicaragua. Nothing happening yet in South America. I suspect that'll change as the Soviets and the Chinese even may get aggressive with insurgencies. Here you've got the NATO or European Space Launch Center in French Guiana with a satellite ready to go into orbit on turn 1. And then coming over here, you got China, which has a fair amount of units, not that much income though. And the Soviets, of course, have quite a bit of things here units here on the Chinese frontier. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out at the start of the game. You got Japan here, which has quite a bit of stuff, and South Korea and North Korea, of course, where we have the armies. You have the U.S. and South Korea with very potent armies and air forces. North Korea has a decent amount of stuff on the board as well, so I expect that that will get pretty hot as well. And then show you over here, we got these dashboards, which I'm really excited about. Every major faction has their own dashboard where you track certain things in the game. And look at that, I forgot to give the Warsaw Pact their starting IPPs. All right. And you got NATO here. NATO's got one task force, limited amount of nukes. I really like the faction-specific missile markers that Doug made, blue for NATO. And you've got the brown for the Soviet Union here. Soviets have tons of ICBMs to start the game and a pretty potent nuclear bomber force as well. Then we've got reserve units, which basically go to the place units box as soon as these nations go to war. They're going to get extra units. The Soviets here start very strong, $46 more than anybody else. For now, the U.S. and NATO will eventually catch and pass them. But Soviet nuclear forces are going to have to be deterred or dealt with by the U.S. player. Speaking of the U.S., here's the U.S. If the Soviets start really strong in ICBMs, the U.S. starts really strong in sub-launch missiles and not as strong in ICBMs, and decent bomber force too. Of course, they got a space shuttle there ready to place next turn and take some stuff into orbit. Fairly potent reserve forces as well. And the Chinese have probably the third best nuclear force in the game, and that will grow pretty quickly right out of the gate. And China's actually going to be played by Doug tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to seeing what he will try. China's a bit asymmetric in this game in that they're trying to become a modern superpower. And they've also got that age-old Taiwan question that they'd like to settle. So that's where most of their victory points will lie. So they can lie low and modernize their economy, get some technology completed, and get some victory points that way. So we'll have to see how this plays out. Check out these Soviet fleet markers that Doug made. There's the Soviet Northern Fleet, and there's the Black Sea Fleet, and there's the Pacific Fleet, and that corresponds to these three cards here. So sorry about the glare there. And the Soviets, of course, have a pretty potent mobile nuclear missile force as well on the map. We've got 3 IRBMs on mobile missile launchers. Those are really hard to define and take out. So, and then we've got our battle board here, which is still very much in just usability mode versus formatting, but it works. Got our dice here where we can roll our dice. And then back here we've got tech chart and IPP tracker. I'm using the Global War 36 IPP tracker right now. But Doug and I are talking about making an 85 one now. I've got a turn sequence and production phase overview there for the players. We're doing our ship and facility production chart right here. And then all the stuff we need to play the game, and then all the units and stuff down here as well. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to playing the game. And I want to show you a couple more things here. Hang on just a minute. I'm going to pause it and I'll show you. Really blessed this weekend, and then I get a game master and just watch and advise and observe. I got 5 other guys who are going to play the game, so I made a couple of playtest rule books here. This is for me to flip through during the game and answer any rules questions. And then I was able to make first reference sheets here for all the major factions. And yeah, really excited about that. And like you see here, the U.S. one. And so all the players will have reference sheets that kind of look like Global War reference sheets. So yeah, that is it, guys. We're ready to play some Global War tomorrow. Really looking forward to it. We'll do some videos and post them. Might not be able to post too many tomorrow. Hopefully we can get at least a couple up on Sunday. But yeah, stay tuned here and see how the Global War unfolds. Admiral Seabass signing off.